Well, good morning. It's 5:55 and it's Wednesday, I think. Yes, and this is the video for Thursday, the 17th of July. And the title is Brics is a Sign. 555 is overcoming 666. This is what the ambassador has been saying. Watch for the signs. The five Brics nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, which will grow to surround the earth on all five continents, has established an alternative banking system that will overtake the 666 beast. Got to take out a letter there. The first steps have now been taken. Yes, of course, the Dragon family is involved. Putin is family. The head of China is family. Other family members around the world, usually invisible or not identified as such, are working to shift things away from the Roman beast, 666, that operates through the Vatican, the Crown or City of London, and Washington, D.C. These are the city-states that have been running the world. The Vatican has controlled religion and ideologies. The Crown has controlled the finances of the world through central banks. And Washington has been the military arm, intruding in every nation on the planet, committing or influencing acts of terrorism and crimes against humanity worldwide. The tide is turning. Can you see it yet? Can you feel it? Indeed, the ambassador has said, probably in every single one of our conversations that have been recorded, and many that were not recorded, that we need to look for the signs. Because the family doesn't do things out in the open. They do things behind the scene. They have always operated behind the scenes. Yes, some of their members have made it to a public office, like Putin. Putin is family. I was told that early on. I just was told, was it yesterday or was it today's conversation, that the head of China, and I don't remember the name, is also family. So family is starting to take the roles in leadership positions, certainly in the nations that are creating alternatives to the current beast system. Now, yesterday, or perhaps over the weekend, but yesterday is when it came out, the papers were signed on a document creating a $100 billion Brics development bank. And the intention is to cut Western dominance and to sidestep the dollar as the reserve currency of the world, although it's measured in billions of dollars, $100 billion. I suspect this is just the tip of the iceberg, because there's a lot more that can be put in and invested, especially from the Dragon family in China, who, of course, they control the collateral accounts, at least 90% of them, despite what other people might believe. Anyway, you need to take a look at this. You need to understand that the beast is a Roman beast. It is the remnants of the Roman Empire carried forth two millenniums. Okay? Their dominance existed in a political, military, ideological aspect. The ideological aspect, as I said, is run by the Vatican. Some people even say that the Vatican actually was influential in creation of Islam. I don't know if that's true or not, but I do believe that the ideologies of the world have been heavily influenced by the Vatican, because the Vatican has controlled the court systems, the education systems, the I want to say media, and there's probably some truth to that, although I don't believe all of their eggs are in that basket as far as the media goes, because Israel has a tremendous influence over the media. And of course, Israel is a Rothschild thing. And the Rothschilds come out of, again, the Vatican and out of the Crown, which is the City of London, which has controlled the economic system of the world. These are the things that have influenced our lives a great deal. The finances and the ideologies. And we have been brainwashed and controlled by these mechanisms, and the control is held in place by the military arm or the police arm, which is Washington, D.C. That's why I continue to say that Washington, D.C. is the terrorist nation, or the United States corporation is the terrorist corporation. It is the corporation that controls all corporations, and that's actually headquartered in New York, not London, not Washington, and not the Vatican. Although I'm sure all three of those converge and give their orders to the financial arm that operates out of New York, or the corporation that operates out of New York. Most countries of the world, whether you understand it or not, are subsidiaries of the United States of America Corporation. That's how the corporation has been set up. So that even Australia and European nations and Asian nations and African nations and Latin American nations have been set up as subsidiary corporations of the United States of America Corporation. It's a single corporation with many subsidiaries. This has been the beast that has prevented us from having peace on earth, has prevented us from having prosperity, where all people prosper. It has created polarization. It has created poverty. It has created lack consciousness. It has created all of the schisms that have divided us, because the method of their control has been simple: divide and conquer. Now, how successful have they been in this ideology? Well, look at the religions of the world. Look at the competing religions even within Christianity, of one denomination fighting against another denomination, each claiming to be the one that is the correct one, that understands the Bible or has the mandate from God to indoctrinate the world. You have the same thing in Islam. All the different factions of Islam end up fighting each other instead of uniting to form a one voice. No, they don't speak with one voice. They speak with many voices that attack each other. And you could take this down all the levels around the world, even non-religious ideologies end up fighting for dominance, whether it's the conservative viewpoint or the liberal viewpoint or whatever viewpoint you want to take. It's all divide and conquer, divide and conquer, divide and conquer. This is human ignorance. This is why I said in the video yesterday that the war on ignorance is the solution to all the problems. But looking at the signs, now you see a visible representation of the Dragon family's plan to let 555 overtake 666. Now, what is 555? All right, you see that there are 5 nations that make up the original Brics family or grouping. 5 nations, and they represent the 5 continents. Now, I wasn't clear on this myself, so this morning, before I'm making this video, I've already had a conversation with the ambassador. Now, Brazil represents the Americas. Okay, not the United States, not Canada. We're now going south of the border to South America, but it's the Americas. Brazil is the representative nation for the Americas. India, or well, Russia. Russia represents Europe, or the white nations. Now, of course, Russia is the only nation on earth, as far as I know, that straddles 2 continents. It's both Europe and Asia, but Moscow is in Europe, and Russia represents Europe. There may be other nations that will come out of Europe and follow suit, but ambassador suggested as much, and I don't want to get into that right now. India, though, was an interesting one to me. India is the subcontinent. It's sort of like a continent by itself, because I said to him, well, why isn't Australia represented? And he indicated to me that what used to be called Ceylon is now Sri Lanka, that those people are the same race as the Australian Aborigines. And so India actually also represents and includes Australia, which would have never made that connection. And he said that the Europeans that were sent to Australia were probably freedom fighters in their own right, and they just didn't go along with the crown. So it's not unusual that you have a lot of freedom-loving people in Australia, yet Australia is a strongly cabal-controlled nation, as is the United States, as is Canada, as is most of Europe, Western Europe anyway. And this is another one of the continents. And of course, China represents Asia. And the dragon family is in China. That's where it operates from. And the Chinese portion of the dragon family is the part of the dragon family that's on humanity's side. Don't look at it as communist China. Forget all of the ideologies that we've been sold. Ultimately, you're going to see that China is going to be a hero in helping to bring stability and freedom to the people of the world. No matter what it looks like, that's the direction it's heading. And of course, representing Africa is South Africa. That's a British Commonwealth nation, so it's an interesting one because it has the mix of Africa, but it also has the European influence on it. So that one is a multifaceted one, but the 5 continents are represented. Now, individually, what does 555 mean to me? Aristo was the one that cleared that up. 555 is backing up from the distortion of 666, and it allows us to integrate our life force energy, to become more fully human, which means to integrate the divine with the human, to bring them together into a merging. We have to go back and allow that to take place, and even going back to 444, allowing us to be grounded in our life force energy so that we can actually create the avatar or the Messiah, not the Antichrist. 666 is the mark of the beast. It's the Antichrist. But the Christ is also there in number 6. It's also there. The avatar is there in number 6. And we need to transform the 666 from beast to avatar. Now, some people don't get that, and I don't know that I'm explaining it perfectly either. That's my understanding, which is always subject to change based on receiving new information. But I wanted to give you, in this brief video, an overview of what's happening. There is now an alternative financial structure that is parallel to the World Bank, to the International Monetary Fund, to all the Bretton Woods agreements. It replaces the Bretton Woods agreements, which made the dollar the reserve currency of the world. Now that's no longer true. There's been all sorts of moves in that direction in recent years, but now it's official. This new development bank, the Brics Development Bank, is now established, and it will overtake 666. Watch. Keep watching the signs as the dollar decreases, as the beast decreases, and the liberation of humanity comes into the forefront, and a real new world order that works for the people instead of against the people is taking shape and taking form. And you're going to watch as the bridge is being built to help us walk from the old paradigm thinking of being controlled by some authority figure, to actually being free, to actually having our rights honored. It's a new day that's dawning. Keep looking at the signs, keep watching, and keep doing the inner work that you need to do to to deliver yourself from the ignorance of the divide and conquer paradigm that has been in place for so many centuries, perhaps even thousands of years. We need to move away from that. We need to unite as one under one God, on one world, and one race, the human race. We can do it if we stand together. And if we stop fighting each other, we can change the world. We have the power. It's up to us. Pay attention, look at the signs, and allow 555 in your personal life to overcome the beast that thinks it can be separate and dominate and control you and control the world. Thank you for listening. Namaste.